First of all, I just want to say, and to recap, the ACTU has always said that the Royal Commission was politically motivated. It's been a political exercise from the start. The Royal Commission was always about prosecuting an ideological partisan agenda. And it comes as no coincidence that we've got the report in the Royal Commission being released today, a little over a week from when we had a report from the other commission, the Productivity Commission. And the way I characterise it is it's a tale of two commissions. We had a Productivity Commission which has now handed down recommendations to attack wages and conditions of low-paid workers in this country. They are going to go after Sunday penalty rates. And at the same time, you've had a Royal Commission which we know ultimately will be about diminishing the capacity of unions to continue to be fighting out there for improved wages and conditions and to fight to defend penalty rates. We've also noted that we believe $80 million was spent on this Royal Commission at a time while cost of living is hurting taxpayers, and that money could have been well spent anywhere else. We've always said that if there has been any serious allegations of wrongdoing, it should be referred to the appropriate authorities for further investigation. The ACTU has also been very consistent from the onset to say that there is no place for corrupt behaviour in our movement. And we do take a zero-tolerance approach to this, whether it's been in the union movement or anywhere else. Now, that was evidence when we took decisive action, unprecedented action over 3 years ago, where we suspended one affiliate being the HSU. Also 3 years ago, we set up a governance panel headed up by retired Judge Madgwick, who put together a code of practice for us on governance, which we have rolled out across the movement over the last 3 years, and we've had at least 5,000 officials from around the country go through that governance training. We do know that unions are now implementing these new governance standards, and in fact this year we got an unprecedented almost 100% tick from the Fair Work Commission regarding reporting requirements that affiliates have undertaken. So we have seen improvement in this area for some time. The other point I want to make is that we reject any kind of assertion that there is widespread, unlawful, corrupt conduct within the union movement. There is no evidence that there is systemic, unlawful, corrupt conduct. You know, we have, across our movement, 5,000 full-time union officials. We have tens of thousands of delegates in workplaces right around this country every day, fighting for better pay, fighting for better conditions, fighting for safer workplaces. And it is interesting to note that over the last 5 years, there have been 830 workplace fatalities in those industries where those unions who were subject to the investigation of the Royal Commission look into. 830 deaths over a 5-year period. We are deeply concerned, at least one of the recommendations, which is now requiring that individuals be named who bring the unions in to investigate a workplace health and safety issue, which will lead to less reporting and ultimately could lead to more workplace injuries, deaths or fatalities. Now, this Royal Commission also went back 30 years. It spent $80 million of taxpayers' money. It's examined 505 witnesses, and they have found a handful of matters to be referred off, either for further possible prosecution. So it is wrong to generalise that there is a systemic, significant problem right across the movement. I mean, we don't assert that there is systemic corruption within the Liberal Party because the current director in Victoria is behind bars at the moment. We don't say that Parliament is corrupt because you have individual members who do abuse their privileges. So it is wrong to generalise. Now, we are prepared to have sensible discussions about good governance, because we recognise that good governance is about continuous improvement, and we recognise that members deserve the best possible governance standards that we can achieve. That's why we set about 3 years ago in putting together the Madgwick report. That's why we've got unions rolling out the governance provisions right across their organisations. So we will seriously consider the factual information and recommendations attached to the report. So as long as it's going to be a sensible discussion about best governance standards, not one about diminishing the capacity of workers being able to organise, to engage collectively or be represented effectively by their unions. And I also note that the ALP has suggested, put a number of suggestions forward on governance. We'll consider those. We're up for a discussion with them, but we're also up for a discussion with the government. And so today I'm calling on Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull is to allow some time and space for these discussions to occur and not try and rush through any kind of legislation in the first part of next year. As I've said, we're up to have a sensible discussion to ensure that we can get the best governance standards possible for 1.8 million members right across our movement. And I'll end on this, that every day officials are out there fighting for better pay and conditions, for safer workplaces. We are a movement of 1.8 million members. We have elected officers, we have a lot of rank and file volunteers who sit on various governance bodies and everything else right across the movement, where the common objective is about fighting for better pay and conditions. We know that this government's got an agenda to attack the rights and pay packets of workers across this country. That's why we'll be concerned about the timing of the two commissions, the Productivity Commission and the Royal Commission. We want to get on with doing the job that we do best, representing the interests of workers right around this country, and we reject any assertion, any attempts by this tainted Royal Commission that our movement has a significant problem. It is not true.